Have you ever heard of a princess who led an army of 11,000 virgins across Europe on a pilgrimage? It sounds like the plot of an epic fantasy movie, but it is actually the heart of one of the most enduring and fascinating legends in Christian history, the story of Saint Ursula. Today, we're diving deep into this incredible tale of faith, courage, and a mysterious massacre that has puzzled historians for centuries. Who was this British princess? And what really happened to her and her thousands of companions? The story begins in the 4th or 5th century, depending on which version you read. Ursula was the daughter of a Christian king in Britain. She was renowned not just for her incredible beauty, but also for her wisdom and deep piety. As you can imagine, a princess with such qualities had no shortage of suitors. The one who came knocking was a pagan prince, the son of a powerful king from a neighboring kingdom. This put Ursula and her father in a very tricky situation. A refusal could mean war, but for Ursula, marrying a non-Christian was out of the question. So, being the wise and resourceful woman she was, Ursula came up with a plan, a seemingly impossible plan. She agreed to the marriage, but only on 3 conditions. First, the prince must convert to Christianity and be baptized. Second, he had to wait 3 years before the wedding. And third, during those 3 years, she would embark on a grand pilgrimage to Rome, accompanied by 10 other noble virgins, each of whom would also be accompanied by 1,000 more virgins. That's right, a total of 11,000 virgins. Now you might be thinking, 11,000? That number seems a bit specific and frankly enormous. We'll get back to that number later because it's a key part of the mystery. For now, let's go with the legend. Miraculously, the pagan prince, utterly smitten with Ursula, agreed to all her terms. Her father, relieved to have avoided a war and proud of his daughter's cleverness, helped her gather the ships and the companions for this unprecedented journey. 11 ships were prepared, one for each of the main noble women and their entourage. With everything in place, Ursula and her massive following set sail from Britain. Their journey wasn't a straight shot to Rome. The legend says they sailed down the Rhine River, a major waterway that would take them deep into the heart of Europe. Their first major stop was the city of Cologne in modern-day Germany. Here, an angel appeared to Ursula in a dream. The angel told her that after completing her pilgrimage to Rome, she and her companions would return to Cologne, and there they would achieve the crown of martyrdom. Instead of being terrified, Ursula was filled with a sense of divine purpose. She shared the prophecy with her companions, who, inspired by her unwavering faith, embraced their destiny with courage. They continued their journey, traveling overland to Basel, Switzerland, and then crossing the Alps to reach Rome. When they arrived in Rome, their presence caused quite a stir. Imagine 11,000 young women, led by a princess, marching into the holy city. The Pope at the time, said to be a man named Cyriacus, was so moved by their devotion that he decided to join them. According to the legend, he abdicated the papacy and, along with some of his cardinals and bishops, joined Ursula's pilgrimage for their return journey. This detail adds another layer of epic scale to the story, though it's historically very difficult to verify. So the massive group, now including the former pope, retraced their steps. Heading back towards Cologne, they knew what awaited them there, as foretold by the angel. As they approached the city, they found it besieged by the Huns, a nomadic people from Central Asia who were sweeping across Europe at the time. The leader of the Huns, often identified as Attila in later versions of the story, was captivated by Ursula's beauty and demanded she become his wife. Ursula, a Christian princess already betrothed and dedicated to her faith, flatly refused him. Enraged by her rejection, the Hun leader ordered a massacre. He commanded his soldiers to kill Ursula and all 11,000 of her companions. What followed was a scene of horrific brutality. The virgins, steadfast in their faith, refused to renounce their beliefs and were martyred. The legend says they faced their deaths with courage, praying and singing hymns. Ursula herself was the last to fall, killed by an arrow after once again refusing the Hun chieftain. Even her betrothed, the prince, who had journeyed to meet her, was said to have been martyred alongside them. And so the prophecy was fulfilled. Ursula and her companions died as martyrs in Cologne. The story says that the people of Cologne were so horrified and yet inspired by the massacre that they rose up and drove the Huns from their city. They buried the bodies of the martyrs with great honor, and a church was soon built on the site of their burial. This church, the Basilica of Saint Ursula in Cologne, still stands today and claims to hold the relics of Ursula and her 11,000 companions. Now let's step back from the legend and put on our historian hats. Is any of this true? Well, it's complicated. The core of the story seems to originate from a 5th century inscription found in the church of Saint Ursula. This stone inscription, known as the Climatius inscription, mentions that a man named Climatius rebuilt a small basilica on his own land to honor a group of unnamed virgin martyrs who had been killed there. It doesn't mention Ursula by name, nor does it give the number of martyrs, it just speaks of virgins. So where did the name Ursula and the number 11,000 come from? The name Ursula, meaning little female bear in Latin, first appears in records around the 8th or 9th century. The story began to grow and become more elaborate over time. By the 10th century, a popular account known as the Passio Ursulae laid out the full narrative we know today, complete with the British princess, the pilgrimage, and the Hun massacre. But what about the number? 11,000. Scholars have a few theories about this. One popular theory is that it was a simple misreading of an early manuscript. The abbreviation SHMV could have originally meant 11 martyred virgins. Over time, the M might have been misinterpreted as milia, the Latin word for 1,000, turning 11 martyrs into 11,000. Another possibility involves a misunderstanding of a name. One of Ursula's companions was sometimes named Undecimilla, which is Latin for 11,000. It's possible the name of one companion was mistaken for the total number in the group. Regardless of the historical accuracy, the legend of Saint Ursula became incredibly popular throughout the Middle Ages. She was seen as a powerful protector, a symbol of female courage and faith. She became the patron saint of holy death, of young women, and of universities, including the Sorbonne in Paris. Christopher Columbus even named the Virgin Islands in her honor and that of her followers when he sighted them in 1493. The veneration of her relics, particularly in Cologne, became a major phenomenon. The Basilica of Saint Ursula houses a golden chamber, a breathtaking room where the walls are decorated with bones and skulls, claimed to be the remains of the virgin martyrs. Whether these are truly the bones of thousands of martyred women is a subject of intense debate, but for centuries, pilgrims have flocked here, drawn by the power of the story. The story of Saint Ursula is a perfect example of how history, legend, and faith can intertwine. It's a tale that has been told and retold, embellished and reinterpreted for over 1,500 years. It may have started with a small group of local martyrs whose names were lost to time, but through centuries of storytelling, their memory was transformed into an epic saga of a princess, a pilgrimage, and an army of the faithful. So what do we take away from the legend of Saint Ursula? Is it the historical mystery of what really happened in Cologne? Is it the incredible power of storytelling to shape belief for centuries? Or is it the enduring image of a young woman who, faced with an impossible choice, chose faith and courage over fear? Perhaps it's all of these things. The story of Ursula and the 11,000 virgins reminds us that sometimes the power of a story isn't just in its factual accuracy, but in the inspiration and meaning it provides to generations. What do you think? Do you believe the number was a misinterpretation, or is there a kernel of truth to the epic scale of the legend? Let me know your theories in the comments below. See you next time.